This is Algebra 2B, and in the second lesson of our first chapter, we're going to be talking about graphing parabolas. Okay, so we've already talked about the different forms. I'm going to just write them down again so we can kind of see what we're working with. General form is going to be in three separate terms. Remember, a cannot be 0. We need to have that x squared up there. Vertex form shows us exactly where the vertex of our parabola is. Sorry, he slid on me, that's an H. Shows us exactly where the vertex of our parabola is, however far left and right, however far up and down. There we go. The vertex is always going to be in that equation. And then we had factored form, which is showing us the x-intercepts, sometimes called the roots, sometimes called the factors, sometimes called the zeros. What we're going to be doing in this lesson is graphing equations in different forms, but also writing equations from graphs. Okay, so first one here is a parabola in general form. I have my three separate terms, x squared minus 4x minus 5. I know that the a is 1. It's invisible, but there is a number, invisible 1 in front of the x squared. I got my c is -4. Sorry, my b is -4, my c is -5. So first I'm going to find the vertex of this, and I'm going to use the axis of symmetry that we talked about last time, and then I'm going to evaluate the function at that number. Okay, so the axis of symmetry is going to be -b over 2a. I know that a is that invisible 1 and b is that -4. So I'm going to substitute negative b. That's a +4. And then in the denominator, I'm going to substitute in a 1. And if you like it, negative turns positive. 2 times 1 is 2. So 4 over 2 is 2. So I know that the axis of symmetry is going to fall right on 2. And to figure out the y-coordinate of the vertex, I'm going to evaluate the function at 2. Okay, so that is going to be 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 5. I'm substituting 2 in for the two x's of my equation. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 8 is -4. Minus 5 is -9. So my vertex then is going to be 2, -9. 2 from my axis of symmetry, -9 from evaluating at that x. And I'm going to scroll so I can see this whole thing here. 2, -9. That is going to be my vertex. So now I want to figure out the y-intercept. To do that, we're going to evaluate the function at 0, which is pretty easy because I'll write it out. But remember, our first two terms are going to go to 0, so we're just left with the -5. Where'd he go? There he is. I'm having some troubles today. This board just doesn't want to hang out with me. Okay, they go to 0, -5. So my y-intercept is going to be at -5. Now remember, our parabolas have symmetry. So if I have this point here, I know that I can reflect him across that axis, and I'll have another point at 4, -5. Okay? Evaluate and use symmetry to plot additional points. So I got 3 points already. Let's try 5. I'm going to stick in 5 just so I can get another point. Now I could do 5 or 6 or 7. It's going to give me another point on the other side, right, with my symmetry? But let's go 5. So f of 5 will be 5 squared minus 4 times 5 minus 5. Okay? 5 times 5 is 25. 25 minus 20 minus 5. Hey, look, I found a 0. And using symmetry, 1, 2, 3 points to the axis, 1, 2, 3 points I have my 2 zeros here too. So we're going to connect these with the nicest curve that we can. Ooh, that was not very good. You get the idea. That is my U shape, my vertex at 2, -9, and then back up again. Write an equation in vertex form. Okay, so my vertex form equation, I'm going to be using the 2 and the -9. And we're going to keep in mind that we know A is 1. So I'm going to just leave that off because it's the invisible 1. So y equals invisible 1. In our parentheses, our vertex moved 2 to the right. So it is a -2. Power 2 gives it that U shape. And then at the back, we have a -9. You can write -9 if you don't like the -9. Means the same thing. And finally, our factored form. Now, luckily, when I evaluated those 2 bonus points, I found my 2 factors here. Those are the 2 numbers that are going to go in for R1 and R2. A still being the invisible 1. So we are going to write y equals x minus -1. Okay, so that's kind of weird. It's a plus, right? Because minus a -1 gave me a plus. And then our second one was x minus a +5. So even though it's a +5, it's got a minus in front of it. Okay, let's try another one. Letter B, follow the steps to plot x + 1 quantity and x - 3 quantity. First, what are the x-intercepts? This is what I was kind of just looking at. It's always the opposite. So even though I see a +1 in here, one of our x-intercepts is -1. And even though I see a -3 in here, our other x-intercept is a +3. So on the x-axis, I'm going to go to -1, and I'm going to go to +3. What is the vertex? Now, given that I have symmetry, I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that this is going to be the middle because it's got to be 2 to the one x-intercept, 2 to the other x-intercept. So I know that the x-coordinate of my vertex has to be +1 because that's going to be right in the middle of my 2 x-intercepts. So I'm going to evaluate my function at 1 to figure out what the y-coordinate would be. Okay, that's going to be 1 + 1 and 1 - 3. I'm just replacing both x's in my equation with the 1. 1 + 1 is 2. 1 - 3 is -2. 2 times -2 is a -4. So I'm going to go over to 1 and down to -4. So I got my U taking shape. I'm going to evaluate one more. Oh, y-intercept? Y-intercept. Okay. So to get the y-intercept, we need to evaluate the function at 0. Always, always, always at 0. When we're in general form, it's just the c term. But now we're going to actually substitute in their zeros, like we've been doing, and then actually figure out an answer. So 0 + 1 is 1. 0 - 3 is -3. So our y-intercept is 1 times -3, -3. So on our y-axis, -3. And then using symmetry, here's my middle point, middle line. So now I have another point on the side there. So we can rough out this U shape. Yeah, that looks good. Write an equation in vertex form. Here's my vertex form. I'm going to just put those values in. I do have an A of invisible 1, so I'm going to leave him off. Y equals, leave off the invisible 1, x - 1. It's weird because it's the opposite, but if we go 1 to the right, it is a -1. And at the back, we can add -4, or we can simply subtract 4. Let's keep it moving. I think I got more on the next page. We're going to plot -0.5 quantity x - 2 squared plus 8. Letter A, what is the vertex? Hey, we're already in vertex form. We already have the h and we already have the k. So the vertex is going to be +2, +8. So from the center over 2, up 8, there is my vertex. Y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we are going to evaluate the function at 0. So we're going to put 0 in for the x's. When we're in general form, that's easier, but we can still do it by substituting 0 in anywhere we see an x. And then we can go to our handy dandy calculator to evaluate that one. Did I lose my calculator again? I did. There he is. Okay, so we're going to do negative 0.5. And then in our parentheses, we're subbing 0 in for our x. Take away 2. We got that power 2 outside the parentheses, plus 8 at the back. Our y-intercept is 6. And using our symmetry line, I know I'll have another point 2 to the right of the line. Oh, I didn't give the y-intercept. What is that? 0, 6. Okay. Evaluate and use symmetry to plot additional points. So I could go with 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, or I could go with -1, -2, -3, -4. I'm going to go with 6, 5. Let's go 5. So f of 5. We're going to plug 5 in for our x's. Oops, that was a positive. My bad. And that will give us a point plus its image. -0.5, 5 minus 2 squared plus 8, 3.5. Okay, so 5, was that a positive or a negative? 1, 2, 3.5. And that's 1, 2, 3 from the symmetry line. So I'm going to go 3 more. Okay. I feel like I want to do one more. Let's do 6 also. I won't write it out, but I will type it out. We're going to do -0.5, 6 minus 2 squared plus 8 gives me a 0, which means I have a 0 over here. Do we dare go for 7? Let's go for 7. -0.5, 7 minus 2, power 2, plus 8. And I got a -4.5. 7, -4.5. So one more over, -4.5. So I got a lot of points now. I can rough out my U shape. That might be the best parabola I've ever drawn on the board. But write the equation in factored form. Factored form, I need my zeros. I have a 0 at -2 and a 0 at +6. So remember, a 0 at -2 is a minus -2. So even though it's at -2, we have a plus in our equation. And then a 0 at +6, it is x minus a +6. There is an invisible 1 for, oh, I lied. We have an A. We have an A. Okay. I'm going to do a little squeeze in the front here. Sorry to my friends in pen. We have to put that -0.5 in front of the parentheses because if we have that A value in our original, it's going to be the exact same A value in the other one too. Where'd he go? There he is. So my A value is -0.5. -0.5 has to be in front of the parentheses. And I'll stick my y equals in the front of there. Okay. Again, I hope that wasn't too painful. Good luck on the exercises. Please let me know if you have questions. Thank you.